Hi, this is Seth Gamba. I'm the orchestra teacher at Elkins Point Middle School, and I'm going to just show you a couple of things today about working with TAC, particularly with working with principal gradebooks and exporting those into Excel spreadsheets, which can do a couple of really nice things for you. The two main things I want to show you are just getting it into Excel so that you can then work with your students' grades in a spreadsheet format, which is great for sorting kids around and figuring out who is doing well and who's needing a little bit of extra help. I think the spreadsheet can really help you deal with your grade data a little bit easier. And also, really useful is you can use the printable gradebook exported to Excel to get a list of student numbers, which then you can use to put your students into OneNote classes or into Outlook mailing lists or a number of things like that, that the student numbers make your students very portable throughout Microsoft products. And I find that very useful. So we'll get into that. We'll start with my seventh period orchestra as a test case. So I've got my TAC here open, and I'm going to go to their gradebook. Let that come on up, open. All right, so once the gradebook opens, I'm going to come up here to the right where it says Actions Reports. I'm going to drop this down. I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to go to Printable Gradebook. If all you want are the student numbers, you can click this on Roster Only, and it'll just give you a list of names with student numbers, so long as you have Student ID checked there. But I want to go ahead and get all of the grades, at least for now. It depends on what I want. Sometimes I just want their numbers, and I'll do that. But so here I've got that set the way I want it, and I'm going to click Run. Once you do that, it's going to come up with this gray screen, and this gray screen can last from 10 to 45 seconds to maybe sometimes as long as a minute. You just got to sit and wait for it, and there it is. Okay, so right now I've got a PDF of my gradebook for 7th period orchestra. This is going to be in the reports on my home screen, or I can save it, print it, directly from here. But I don't want just a PDF because you can't really work with that too well. I want an Excel spreadsheet. So I click on this button here, Export to Excel. And there I get the sign. My report is exported. I'm going to hit OK. Now, just something to look out for with this, because I've done this now on 3 different computers lately, and each one has acted a little bit differently. When you click on this, sometimes it will say Export Failed. I was helping another teacher with this the other day, and she was trying to use Internet Explorer to do it, and it kept failing. We switched to Google Chrome, which is what I use on my school laptop, and it exported just fine. Right now, I'm working on my home desktop, and I started out in Google Chrome, testing it out a little bit, and it failed in Google Chrome. I switched over to Internet Explorer, and then it exported just fine. So I've got a couple different computers. One of them, it worked on Explorer, but not on Chrome. The other, it worked on Chrome, but not on Explorer. Go figure. All I'm saying is that if it fails to export properly when you click the Excel button here, try a different browser. I've had 2 different computers where just trying a different browser made it work. So like I said, who knows why things like that happen, but there you go. So I'm going to close that up. I'm going to go back to my home screen. Once I'm here at my home screen, I'm going to come down to Reports. Now, the reports in Teacher Access Center sort things alphabetically, which I find kind of annoying. It's hard to find stuff. So what I do is, to find that quick and easy, I'm going to resort this stuff by date. Now, the funny thing it does, it's going to sort it with the oldest stuff on top. I don't know how useful that is, because I found the thing from 2016 that I still have in there. I'm going to do it again, and it brings the recent stuff to the top. So here's the reports I just ran. The PDF version and the Excel version. I'm going to right click on that. I'm going to save target as, and I've made a folder over here, Elkins Point Students, and here it is. I'm going to save that Excel spreadsheet into my students folder. Down here, it gives me the option just to open it up. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up. I'm going to allow it to launch Excel. And you always get this error message. And I don't know why it does that, but you just say yes. You always get that with these. And here it is. I'm going to go ahead and enable editing. And now I have all of my students and their grades here in an Excel spreadsheet. First thing I want to do is I want to see, I gave a rhythm test a little while ago to my kids, and I want to see who needs help with rhythm. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here and I'm going to sort this, and I've just added a shortcut up here at the top of my screen. I'm going to sort by rhythm test right here, and look out because I'm going to get an error. This operation requires the merged cells to be identically sized. That's always a problem with this when it comes right off of TAC. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to Control A, which selects all. If you hit it twice, it gets the entire document. I'm going to come up here to the top, merge and center. I'm going to drop that down, unmerge cells. Now it's going to be able to sort. There's still going to be one more problem though, because if you look down here, I've got my class average stuff down here. So when I go to sort this, I'll sort it by the rhythm test. I'm going to tell it to sort what looks like a number as a number. And now my class average points and my class average percentages have sorted up here with everything else. I'm going to undo that, Control Z. Here's the solution to that problem. If I come down here and select here, right click, insert one row, now it's going to leave that out of the selection and I'm going to be able to sort. So I'm going to come up here, sort by the rhythm test. Okay, looks like a number. And now here I've got my students sorted by their grade on the rhythm test. Now this was a pretty easy rhythm test. You can see a lot of kids did really well, but I've got a handful down here who I know now are going to need to be targeted for extra help, for peer tutoring. I can use this when I'm deciding on flexible grouping. Being able to sort by their grades I find extremely useful. So there's one good thing about getting this into an Excel spreadsheet. I'm going to undo that sorting and just put them back in alphabetical order here. And we're going to get on to the next thing, student ID numbers. I'm going to go ahead and highlight all of my student IDs. You can either Control C or right click and copy those. And now I'm going to move all of this over to a Word document. And this ends up being a really handy thing to do. And I'm going to, you can right click paste. Why don't I right click? And that's too many options. I'm just going to Control V. Control V. There we go. It's all pasted in there. Once I get just my student numbers isolated, now I'm in a position where I can just dump this whole class straight into OneNote, for instance, really quickly, really easily. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to highlight my table. You come up to Table Tools, Layout, and convert this to text. Separate with paragraph marks. That's going to be just fine. That's what I want to do. And now I get this column of all my student numbers. If I do my hidden characters here, I can see that I've got all of these return marks, these paragraph marks right here. And what I need to do is I need to get rid of all of those and turn those into semicolons and spaces, and then it's going to work with your class notebooks. So here I'm going to Control A, select all. I'm going to come over here to replace. You can also use Control H to do this same thing. And I have to find the paragraph mark. So to find that, I'm going to come down here and do more. It's a special character, paragraph mark, and it's going to pop it up in there. I want to replace that with semicolon and a space. I'm going to go ahead and replace all. There we go. Okay, I'm going to close this up. I'm going to go ahead and hide my hidden characters again and get rid of these couple of extra semicolons, right? So now you may want to save this, maybe not. Let me get back over to that folder, Elkins and students, and I'm just going to save this as 7th period student numbers. All right, there we go. So now if I want it later, I've got this list, I can use it. Okay, so I'm just going to minimize this for a minute, and I'm going to come over to Microsoft 365 launcher, right? And you can get to this through you just Microsoft Office 365 login. It'll bring you over to the login screen. You log in, it'll give you this little launcher right here. So I'm going to go over to Class Notebook, and I'm just going to make a new notebook here real quick, just as an example of how you can use this. And here we go. I'm going to create a class notebook. For example, okay, so let's call this 7th period orchestra. And maybe I can capitalize. It really doesn't matter because I'm just going to delete this later anyway because I've already made my notebook for them. But anyway, I'm going to go on to next. I'll just take the defaults. I don't need another teacher in it. Now my students' names. So I'm going to go back over here to my Word document. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to come back over here to OneNote. And I'm going to paste. And there it is. There is my entire 7th period orchestra right in there. I'm going to click next. Almost there. What should be inside? And I'm going to go on next, and etc., etc. And you know what? I'm going to stop short of creating it because, like I said, these students are already in OneNote notebook for me. And if I create this, they're going to be all confused about all these different notebooks they're in. So I am not going to create this, but nice and easy to get all of your students in there. I can go back to the same thing, and I can drop this into an email list inside of Microsoft Outlook. It doesn't work on the online mail system. It's just as a warning here. When you go over to here, if you go to the online mail, it doesn't work. You have to do it in the desktop Outlook, but you can copy and paste into a new mailing list, and there you have a list, an Outlook of all of your students, and you don't have to email through Teacher Access Center, which is kind of a pain sometimes. I think Outlook works better for that. But anyway, hopefully this was helpful for you and is going to save you some time in getting some of your things set up. Thank you for watching.